Roger, Eagle. Go for landing, over. Roger, understand. Go for landing. Eagle looking great. Houston, the Eagle has landed.
And good afternoon, everybody. The Eagle has indeed landed in more ways than one after Tuesday, thank God. Hi, I'm Graham Nolan, and today we're going to do a couple fun things. One is business-wise. I have launched the black and white 24-hour variant cover. So it launched at 12 noon. Previous backers got a notification at 11:30. So that will be up for 24 hours, period. Comes down after that. There's 300 available. As soon as those go, if they go before the 24 hours, then that's it. There'll be no more. So they've been doing pretty good so far. I've been getting a lot of buzzing. So go check those out, and we'll show it to you on the campaign too. The other thing I want to talk about is I had posted this image from one of the comics I'd done of the trophy room, and then somebody said I should. I had mentioned in there that I had done these designs for the BatBible in 1994 because nothing was consistent. You know, this is coming off of Nightfall. It might have been during. Let's see if 94 was at Night's End, maybe. I can't keep the date straight on that stuff. But I suggested to Scott Peterson, I said, you know what, we need consistency. We need a Bible here. And so, I sent some sketches. And since I was doing a lot of the designs anyway for all the other artists, because Chuck and I were always ahead. We were probably the fastest team. So, there was stuff that was supposed to start in Batman and then come to me, but I was working on it before the Bat team. So I would do the designs, whether it be a locale or a secondary character or whatever, ahead of time, send it to them so that I could get working on it. And that way we'd have some continuity. But we were seeing, or I was seeing, and this drives me nuts, was that people were drawing, Batman's computer, or Wayne Manor, or the trophy room, and other places in the Batcave differently in different books, because a lot of artists came and went. So I had suggested we lock this down and finalize it. So I suggested it. They agreed, and I went off to the races. So I'm going to share those images with you. I couldn't find the original art, but I had photocopies. So I made a PDF of the photocopies, and we can go over them together. So the first one that I had to do, and I had to do this, and that was the trophy room. It's my favorite part of the Batcave. One of the first Batman comics, in fact, it was the first Batman comic I bought, was a 60-cent giant. And all the stories in there, all the reprint stories, revolved around the trophy room, because they used to have themes in those 60-cent giants. So the first part was a brand new story. It was a Denny O'Neil, a Catwoman story, and then there'd be reprints throughout the book, and each one focused on various parts of the trophy room. Which reminds me, I also had a little bit later, around 1998, I had proposed a series called Tales of the Trophy Room, and that I would take, I would start off with the major trophies and write new stories about them, modernize them, and then go on to trophies that maybe never existed, but would offer a really cool story. And then that would be stuff we could throw into the trophy room and the backgrounds and stuff later on. And so we did two of those. I wrote and illustrated Dinosaur Island. That's where he gets the Tyrannosaurus Rex. And the Giant Penny. Oh, you know what? I'll get back to that in a second. What I forgot to mention, guys, was I was going to do one of those super chat things, like when we hit 5 super chats, we would do something. But I decided not to set that up. I figured, since we've launched the new variant cover, Let's get 5 new variant covers in here. Okay. So in other words, if you picked up one of the variant covers, just put your backer number in there. And as soon as we have 5 of those new backer numbers, then we'll have hit our goal. And what we'll do is we'll do a Q&A. You can ask any questions about my time in the Batcave. So we'll start the timer now. It's 12:07. We'll give it 30 minutes. So we'll go to 12:37. If we get the 5 new backer numbers, then we'll go into a Q&A. How's that sound? Okay, so back to the trophy room. So I did the 2 stories. I did the Dinosaur Island and the Penny Plunderer. The Penny Plunderer one, I took the well, both of them actually. I took the structure that Bill Finger had written and some of the character names, but then I wrote a totally different story about it and modernized it and gave it, some tweaks and stuff. And I had a ball with those. I wanted to do a whole slew of them and then collect them into like an edition called Tales of the Trophy Room. We could do these as backup stories or stick them in. They were doing some. Oh, hey. Well, we just got from Kino Reviews. We just got a super chat. Thank you. Did you do an isometric drawing of the Batcave to illustrate the locations of key elements in the cave? Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves here, Mr. Kino Reviews. I will pull that up and I'll show you exactly what we have. Thank you, StealthX5, for the $2 super chat. I should just make sure. Let's see if anybody's put in their backer numbers. Okay, I don't have any backer numbers in here yet for the Q&A. All right, but I'm sure they'll come. So here is the PDF. Okay. This was the design of the trophy room. Now, I didn't do a lot of views of them. I just would do a single view, and I would expect artists to be able to extrapolate from it, And what's really cool about this particular piece is that I really wanted to stick trophies in here that were meaningful to me, stories I loved. And I used to do that in the backgrounds before I went ahead and designed this thing. And so, of course, we have the stall, the mainstays, the giant dinosaur and the penny, for which I would write those 2 stories later on. Then this one here, this photograph with the 2 holes in it, this was one of the reprint stories that was in that giant-sized Batman I told you about. And it was the case of the prophetic pictures. And this rich people in Bruce Wayne's sphere, they would have this artist do paintings of them, portraits, and then somebody would come in and put bullet holes in it or a knife or whatever, and it was telegraphing how that person was going to die. And so Bruce had one painted of him, and somebody came in and put the bullet holes in there, meaning Bruce Wayne was going to die by being shot in the head. I love that story, and there was a sequel to it as well, and that's where the trophy aspect came in. So I had to put that in there. This here, this book, is called The Diary of Dana Dry. Now this appeared in Batman 14, but I saw it, of course, in the first Batman Giant Treasury edition. So beautiful Bill Finger story, illustrated by Jerry Robinson, just gorgeous. And the story here is one of my all-time favorites, a classic or modern. It could really easily translate. And the story was Dana Dry, the dean of detectives, that everybody thought this guy was the greatest detective in the world. We're gathering to honor him. And it included Batman and a Charlie Chan type character and a Sherlock Holmes type character. And all these people from around the world were coming to this convention, if you will, to honor Dana Dry. And right in front of them, he's shot dead. And now the game is afoot. So to honor him, they want to solve his murder. So everybody's going off and doing their own things. And during the investigation, of course, Batman is the one who solves it. But in the investigation, he finds in the diary of Dana Dry that Dana Dry, being the great detective he was, knew who Bruce Wayne was. He knew that he was Batman, and he never exposed that to anybody. Now, the twist in the murder of Dana Dry was it wasn't a murder; it was a suicide. He was giving a gift of a mystery to these detectives, and he was dying anyway. He had cancer or something like that, and he didn't have long to live. So he set this flintlock up on a window. Now this convention that they're having was up on like the 10th floor or something like that, and he set this flintlock up and a magnifying glass over the pan. And when the sun would hit a certain time, the sun would go through the magnifying glass, ignite the gunpowder, and fire the flintlock into the back of Dana Dry. The back end of it was weighted so that when it fired, it bounced off the windowsill and then landed in a moat below. So nobody could figure out how could anybody shoot him. There's no buildings nearby. But Batman figures it out. And that's just a wonderful, wonderful story. And Batman doesn't reveal, when all the detectives finally come together, they all say they're stumped, and Batman says, "Yeah, I'm stumped too." So he kept the secret for him. Over here we have the vest, the bulletproof vests of the Rafferty brothers. They were these three brothers. Another Bill Finger story. This one illustrated by Kurt Swan, not Kurt Swan. Dick Sprang. And this guy wore this bulletproof vest so that when he committed these crimes, they couldn't shoot him. He ends up falling in the water and drowning because it's this heavy thing. In the back here, I have the cloak of Clayface. I have the two hats of Tweedledum and Tweedledee. This one here is the monk from one of the he was like a vampire. It was a Gardner Fox story from early Detective Comics, like 20 Detective Comics 29, maybe 29, 30, something like that. I forget. This one here is a particular favorite of mine because it was from the first Detective Comics I ever read. It was a story by Archie Goodwin and illustrated by Howard Chaykin. And it features the first appearance of Harvey Bullock, and this is the gavel of Judge Clay, and it was about this Torquemada type judge, Spanish Inquisition judge, whose daughter was blinded during a robbery that Batman was attempting to stop. And this guy wanted revenge, so he sets this thing up, and he has this house which is booby trapped. It's Robin is in it. It's just a really cool, fun story. Howard hates it, or he hated the artwork on it, and I told him, we all can't be the best judge of our own work, because there's this one panel that Howard did where Batman is coming up out of a sewer, and he's holding the manhole cover in front of him, and he's just completely in shadow, and he's holding it up to use as a shield that bullets are being shot at him. And it's just very evocative. It's super cool. All right, let's see. I don't know why that cursor isn't lining up. Oh, I know why. Let's do it this way. There it goes. Now it should line up. Okay. Of course, here we have a penguin representing one of the crimes of the penguin. It's been a long time. I don't remember what the dice are from. The giant bowling pins was from another Dick Sprang comic that I remember. Oh, this one here, this jade Buddha like thing, that's from a Jim Aparo Archie Goodwin story. It's like Detective 4. Let's see, it was before 441. Might have been 4. Might have been around 438, something like that. Really cool story. We can see a little bit of a fencing thing that's from the Cavalier. Got a Riddler question mark back here. Oh, here's the original coin. Two Faces original coin from early Detective Comics. This is the Red Hood back here. So I had a lot of fun doing this one. Obviously, you can see all the love that I put into it. And if I had gotten to do more stories and stuff, I would put other things in. And I encourage the other artists to do the same. Let's fill it up with cool stuff that existed before. So the next one is the computer system. That was driving me crazy. That was always looking different. So I designed this setup here. It's funny because, this is 1994 and we've got a phone here with a cord on it. The screens, almost like they got diode tubes in them or something, Little snack here for Bruce, that Alfred left. But yeah, so that's the main computer system. So the next was to have a workout area for Bruce and Tim to work out in. So this is that. I put it on a lower level. So like the upper level here, they'd go up these stairs. That's where the computer system was, and the Batmobile and the garage and all that kind of stuff. Because here's the roadway that would go out to the exit of the Batcave. But I loaded it up with all free weights. I figured Bruce is going to use free weights. Well, I got one cable system here. We got uneven parallel bars here for their athletic stuff. We got some rings, but most of the stuff is all free weights. Because I figured that's what Bruce would use was, heavy free weights. So this is the living room area of Wayne Manor, with the parents, the picture of his parents up here. Thought that kind of came out cool. Bruce's bedroom. He trained all over the world. I figured he'd have some other stuff from other places like this Oriental art or Asian art. Here's the exterior of Wayne Manor. This was one thing that was always being drawn differently too. And looking back the other way. Oh no, this is the backside of Wayne Manor here. And the steps down would go out the gardens and what have you. And this road here goes around, and it comes around here and goes out. This would be the front of Wayne Manor. I put a lot of thought into this stuff. Like as I was drawing these things, these rooms and stuff, I was trying to figure out, three-dimensionally, okay, which room is this? What room am I looking at if I was peering in these windows? And you'll see that the windows and stuff match up to the other rooms, which is kind of cool. This is the foyer area where you would walk into Wayne Manor, and you'd have this staircase that would go up to the other floors from both sides. I was, thinking of some of those classic movies in the 40s with these mansions, and they had, multiple ways of going up the stairs and stuff. Again, giant artwork on the wall, expansive area for, he was a philanthropist and stuff. I figured he would have space, to host parties and all that kind of stuff. So, and here's what I was talking about. Here is, I did some like blueprint drawings of where furniture was, to help the artist have three-dimensional thoughts of it. The French doors here, how you could enter in. The clock, and it's got a false wall. The clock was a classic way for Bruce to get down into the Batcave, and that's what these stairs are. This goes all the way back to the old days. In fact, even into the serials, where there was the grandfather clock would slide to the side, and then that's how they would enter. So, okay, so here's that foyer area, right? And here's those stairs that we were looking at. So this is looking at the first floor. Okay, here's the study that we were just in. Okay, and we were looking at it this way, heading heading towards the clock. There's false walls and stuff, and then the stairs down into the Batcave. All kinds of big rooms here, kitchen stuff for Alfred to make meals. Here's like an aerial shot of the property, and this is the Drake house because it was established that the Drakes lived next door to Wayne Manor. So I wanted to put that in there, and so you could figure out, well, how did he get there? How did Tim leave that mansion and get over to Bruce's? All the notations are on here that are in pencil. I don't know why. I guess I thought that when I sent this stuff in, they would have it lettered, but they didn't. So it just still has my pencil notes on here. Oh, here's the Batcave exit. I wonder if. Oh yeah, that's the direction of Gotham City from where this building lies. Oh, this was fun because now this is like a cutaway. Again, we have some. Since I love Batman since I was a kid and loved reading the Golden Age stories, I tried to incorporate a lot of the things that I saw in those into this modern version. So, like, there was always the barn. There was an entrance into the Batcave from the barn as well. And this is showing the levels, what the levels are. Let me see if I can read it on the actual Xeroxes. All right. On level 1 is the computer workstation, Batmobile loading ramp, garage, Tim's entrance, the crime lab, library, and trophy room. Okay, so that's the main level. Then there's the second level here, which the subway entrance, the atomic power station. Oh, Harold's room. There was that character Harold who was like this little hunchback who was a technological genius. He was part of the Bat universe back then. And the other two things I can't read. They're too faint. So I don't know what else was on there. Here's the subway rocket. Here's the pathway down to the subway rocket. And the underground stream, which leads to Gotham River, because, I always wanted a bat boat to show up. And Chuck and I eventually did give Batman a boat, which we premiered in the Captain Fear stories. So this was how he would get out into the rivers and stuff from a boat. I'd written a story called The Homicide that was being drawn by Eduardo Barreto, and he ended up getting sick, and the project was scuttled. But in there, I had I was introducing a hydrofoil that Batman would use, that he could use on land as well. He would just zip across the land, zip across the water, and stuff like that. We eventually put that into Bane Conquest, the hydrofoil. So that was kind of cool. See, all these ideas come, you never throw them away. Okay, here's an aerial shot of the cave as well. So this is kind of cool. So we have our the library, the computer workstation, which we saw the drawing of, and the stairs that came down. because I was always showing if Batman was looking over his left shoulder, this is where Alfred would come in. And so I was always trying to think in 3D, so that, you can orient yourself. Here's the Batmobile, um, the garage. So all this stuff made sense to me. So like if he wanted to pull out, some different kind of Batmobile or car and stuff, he could pull it right out here. He'd drive it on this thing. And he'd be pointed in the right direction. This thing would rotate, this floor space, so it could rotate, and he could move the car, move other cars in and out. But he was always be pointing in the right direction. And I got that idea from the Batman TV show because I thought that was so cool. They would pull in, and all of a sudden they'd hop out, run over the computer, and then in the background you see the Batmobile rotating. And I always thought that was really, really cool. Another thing from the TV show, the atomic power station, I thought was a really great way for Batman to power everything that he needed. This is a Hogan's Alley, which is off the gym, so Batman could practice shooting or throwing batarangs or whatever it was, at targets. Because Batman did shoot guns. He was very proficient in it. He didn't like it, but a person like Batman would not develop any skill that he could possibly use to eradicate crime. Now, he wouldn't shoot to kill unless he absolutely had to. But I always thought that silly thing of Batman doesn't use guns was nonsense. He would use them if he had to. And Chuck and I showed him using a high-powered rifle because he was so far away from was it Deathstroke, I think. I forget which guy it was. And he ends up taking him out, just wounding him, and he regrets having to do it that way, but he had no other option. Yeah. So, okay. So that is those are all the designs that were finished. I do have some more designs here, and I'll pop this down real quick that I can show you. I didn't scan them in because they are like Xeroxy sketches. So, all right. So like this is sketch of the clock that we would see in that corner that would hide the opening to the entrance to the Batcave. Okay, this would be another view of the foyer. There's notes here, but they're too faint to read. So this would be looking at the front door. I don't remember what room this is. I'm not sure if it's another angle on Bruce's bedroom, or it's just maybe it's Tim's room or so. I don't remember. But it's up on the second floor for sure because there's those dormers out the windows. All right. Let's see. Before we go any further with that, let me double check the chat, see if we have any backer numbers in here so that we can do our Q&A. Nope. Did nobody back the book? The 24-hour variant in here? Because nobody's put out, I don't see any backer numbers yet, so we're not going to do our Q&A. Just scroll down and make sure. Okay, Captain Vrag says, give me 2 seconds. All right. Yeah, put the... Okay, Art of Roy said he was backer 813, or Marcus Calgary says, all right, so that's one. We got one. But Kino Reviews has a super chat, so we got to take care of that business. Deep Cuts, what stone or rock did you have in mind for the cave? What inspired you to draw the Bat computer that way? Good questions. I really don't know the answer to it. I didn't have any stone in mind. I was thinking in terms of like Howe's Caverns when I was a kid. In Central New York, there's a place called Howe's Caverns. It's underground caverns. You go down to, I don't know if it's limestone or what it is, but it's got the stalactites and the stalagmites, and I was thinking of that. But the kind of rock, I don't know. Cool looking rock, I guess, is the answer. And the back computer, I think I was looking up like I think Chuck had said it was a Cray computer, which was a very powerful computer for the day. Maybe I looked something up. Again, we're going back 30 years. Um, I don't really remember what it was that I wanted a big screen. I know that. And I figured Batman would have multiple screens, but I wanted a really big screen so that we could put these dynamic images up and have the small figures possibly silhouetted and stuff. And I've always liked that look. Um, so that was part of it. Yeah, this is not if you back before. This is for the new covers because that's what this stream is supposed to be. It's a launch of the new cover, the Virgin 24-hour cover. So those are the backer numbers I'm looking for. Somebody that's backed the new cover. All right, Stealth X5 is 801. That's one. Uh, 813, 819. That's three. Okay, we're getting close. All right, that's three. We just need two more, and then we can do a Q&A. That would be cool. Here, let me do this. Stop that screen. Present share screen. All right, I'm going to talk about what this is. So, for collectors, I think it's really cool if you have rarities, and so a lot of people like the Virgin covers with no trade dress on it, and uh, uh, seeing it in its black and white original form. So that's what this is. It's the interior is the story of Escape from Monster Island, but it's going to have this rare cover. There's only 300 being sold, and it's only available for 24 hours. So it's like you gotta grab it when you can, and or while you can. And these will all be signed by me. Some folks have been looking for a signed version that wasn't slabbed up, and these will be. I'll take a blue marker so it really pops out at you and sign it. So that's what we're celebrating today, along with talking about the Batcave designs. Okay, Captain Vrag went in. He got one. All right, so that's four. Let's see. Done, but they broke my balls on postage. Welcome to OZ, Oz. Oz. Where is Oz? Is that Australia? Yeah, Australia is the worst. If that's what you're referencing, it's the most expensive postage. Uh, I take a bath on certain countries. I charge 40 for anywhere outside the U.S. and Canada, anywhere in the world, and it barely covers Europe, and it's a loss in to go to Australia. But it's one of those balancing. Okay, yeah. So it is Australia. Okay, I figured as much. That's a tough one, bud. That's a tough one. I wish there was something we could do. What I try to do is keep the postage so that it's low enough in certain areas so that any leftover can go towards helping out to overcome cost losses on the other ones. There's just no way you can ship anything for less than 40 to Australia, and a book like that will cost more. It costs, I can tell you exactly. Well, 2 books together is 62. So a single book is typically around $45 to ship. Um, so, but I do appreciate you taking that one on the chin, and getting the book. Oh, and Kino's in, so we got our 5. Beautiful. Rick 662 got a cover, so we're good. We got our numbers here, guys. So ask away. Any questions you want to ask about my time in the Batcave? Art, story, personalities, whatever it is. You guys earned it, so fire away. Appreciate it, bro. Kino is back and asked, did you draw any inspiration from the animated series or the Burton films, or is it just a 66 show? Nothing from the Burton films. The animated series, when did that come out? I feel like I was working on these around the same time. So this is 94. I think the animated series came out in 93, 92. I can't really say that I had any inspiration from that. I drew the inspiration from previous artists who I admired who had worked on Batman, and from the TV show, the 66 TV show was definitely a large influence on me. It was my discovery of Batman, and yeah, so I think that's it. Chris Thacker wants to know, is the Trump cover limited to? Yes, that one will be limited to 500. I think that one's gonna go like crazy, and I got a rock star coloring it. Kyle Ritter is gonna color that cover for me, so it's gonna look freaking awesome. Somebody suggested I should do shirts of that, and I just might do that. I might do some shirts of that cover too. But I think that one is going to be huge. At least I hope so. If Batman had a bar in the cave, where would it be in the trophy room? I don't think Batman drinks. to be honest with you. I think he fakes it when he's in social things, sips a here and there, and then tosses the booze. I don't think Batman would do anything to deaden his instincts and his skills. Joe Bernardo wants to know, okay, a question to you. I have always wanted to ask a Batman creative team. Deathstroke versus Batman. Who wins, the Master Tactician or the Dark Knight Detective? Well, Deathstroke has, I feel like they fought before, and Deathstroke like kicked Batman's ass. Because he has enhanced powers. Kind of like a Captain America. But I guess it would depend on the situation. Physically, I think Deathstroke, would beat him. But skill wise uh, and being able to understand his weaknesses if Batman had time, type of thing. I always hate that. Well, Batman can beat anybody if he has enough time to plan. It's bullshit. He can't beat Superman. Period. Every time they show him beating Superman, I laugh my ass off. It's just idiotic. Superman could use his super speed and turn Batman into a pulp in less than a millisecond. No, not even a contest. Kino says the show came out in 92, same time as Returns. Okay. Yeah, I liked the show. I did watch it. But I didn't draw any visual inspiration from it. Bats in the cave, yes or no? And if yes, how did he keep the guano from being all over everything? Bats, yes. Guano, yes. Alfred, clean. Batman didn't do shit. He didn't clean that stuff. Alfred would do that. They probably, the cave is large. It's just the inhabited areas. My guess is Batman probably has some type of sonic thing set up in the livable areas, in the workstation areas that would drive the bats away and deeper into the cave area. So maybe the Batmobile rides over guano, but there'd be no bats around the computer systems and stuff. The better question is, how does Batman keep the moisture out of all the computer stuff, underground like that with a river running through it? It's got to be pretty damp. But the real answer is, like Danny O'Neill told me when, I told him at a bat conference, the idea of the hydrofoil, thinking that, what, if, we've all driven in New York, at least all of us that were working on the bat books, uh, you're bumper to bumper traffic in a major city. It'd be the same in Gotham. How does Batman not get stuck in traffic? He should have something like a hydrofoil. So, if he comes to traffic, he can just go zoop over the cars. If a bad guy gets into a boat, Batman can just boom right over the dock and right over the water and all that kind of stuff. And then he said, well, it's because it's fantasy. That's how Batman never gets stuck in traffic. And that's why the dampness doesn't ruin his computers, or why he doesn't have guano all over his shoes. Question: what Batman themed basement man cave elements are a must to have in any cave? Well, for me, there are two things I don't have, but I want to have. And one would be the Shakespeare head from the 66 show that you pull back and press the button and open up the wall. I think that would be really cool. And a bat phone. I had a bat phone as a kid. I had a lot of Batman stuff. I had a 60. See, I think it was 68, so I'd have been 6. I think it was my 6th birthday. I had a Batman party where my mom, decorated the cake with bats and stuff. There was all kinds of Batman-related stuff you could get in that era because it was Batmania everywhere. Let me see if I can find that picture. If I have it in my uh, favorites, or might be in my. Let me see if I can find that really quick here. It's not there. Might be in family album. Do, 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 do. I had it somewhere. Here we go. Family pictures. Maybe it's in there. I felt like I put it in one of my books at one time. Nah, I don't think it's going to be in here. No, I'll have to find it for some other time. But there was a picture of me and my brother sitting in front of the cake, and I think the bat phone's in the background. Marcus says Captain America hasn't had super strength since '74. Yeah, well, well, that's not true if you count the movies. You know, he's kicking cars, sideways and stuff. And I think that Cap, they sort of underplayed him by saying, okay, well, the super serum made him as strong as like an Olympic athlete. The peak of human perfection. I think he needs more than that. If he's a super soldier, he's got to have abilities beyond what normal people can build on their own. I figured the super serum was like a super steroid, not unlike what Bane took. Uh, in fact, it's sort of similar, that you need the Vita rays to keep him from losing his mind from the stuff, which is what happened in that Captain America story. He didn't get the Vita rays or whatever that shit was. And that's why he turned out to be a nut. Of course, Steve Englehart wrote him as a right-wing nut, but okay, Graham. Batman versus Captain America. I got to go with Captain America on this one. Batman's greatest skill is, yes, he's a incredible fighter. He's very strong, but he's the world's greatest detective. That's his thing, and those are my favorite stories where you see Batman just outsmarting everybody because he's so logical. He can put things together. He's like a super strong Sherlock Holmes. Cap is a soldier. He's a super soldier. He's been taught to fight. He's been taught to kill. And I think that with his skill and strength, he would take Batman. Johnny B. Good saying kryptonite bat suit. Yeah, well, Superman wouldn't get close enough then. He would take a car and throw it at him, or a manhole cover and wing it like a frisbee and cut Batman's head off. If Superman was that kind of a bad guy, you know. That's a good question, Marcus. What kind of inking tools am I using on Escape from Monster Island? I'm using a traditional Hunt 102 quill pens. I'm using sable hair brushes, traditional ink, Pelican ink, and then I'm also using Kuretake markers and brush pens, um, Pentel pens, that kind of stuff. I use a variety of materials depending on what kind of line I'm trying to get. Now that's a good point. Mice, rats, and lizards in the cave too. I figure that's where that sonic thing would keep them out. They have those mice repellers, that you can put in your house. You plug into your wall, and it sends out a signal that won't bother the dog, but it's supposed to send the mice, scattering. This is a good question. I've been enjoying all the books from the Nolan verse, but just curious, any chance we are going to get a superhero book from you? Um, I think there's a good chance. The problem is I haven't come up with one yet, but I've been thinking about it. Um, I want to try and do something different. Uh, I don't want to do street level superhero type stuff. I think that's done to death. Pseudo Batman things. I want to do something more cosmic. Something with just huge power scales. Um, but I haven't thought of it yet. I've got some ideas. Got some ideas, but they're not developed yet. Past Master Dan that says my stock is always going up. Hope that's good. My brother and I got into a fist fight over Batman raincoats. My parents bought him the gray and blue and me the black. I wanted the gray and blue. Yeah, I'd fight for the gray and blue too. Marcus says I don't really count the movies, but Movie Cap has super strength. Yeah, I think he should. I think he should have some level. Not Spider-Man level, not Thing level. Captain Bragg says if dampness ruins computers, I might be screwed. LOL. PCs are actually pretty resilient unless water drips right on them. Oh, okay, cool. Duck Sith says Captain America versus Bane. There's a good matchup. I'd have to say Captain America because I said that Captain America would beat Batman, and Batman has beaten Bane. So I think Cap takes it. Joe replying to Marcus, I remember a comic where they discuss Cap's mind and his brain at his maximum capacity makes the calculations to throw his shield to do the way he does. He also has the proper strength to do it. That's cool. Chris Thacker says, any draw streams from you, Graham? Perhaps on Graybeards? Oh, I'll go on Graybeards if Aaron wants me on there. That'd be fun. If you had to pick a movie you had to watch over and over again, what would it be? Oh, that's easy. Thing from Another World. It's my favorite movie. See, I bet you thought that was going to be a tough question. It was not. Jake Blues is enjoying the Nolan verse. Thank you, sir. Happy to hear that. Chris Thacker answered it before I did. That's easy. Thing from Another World. A question: what entrance do you prefer, bookcase or clock? I like the clock. I like the stairs, as opposed to the bookcase with the poles sliding down. I like the poles. I think they make sense. It's kind of cool to get down fast, but there's something old school about the clock and the stone steps going down. Marcus misses the gray and blue Batman suit. So do I. I really liked Chuck Dixon's Tim Drake. I loved, of course, Dick Grayson too, up until the point they turned him into Nightwing. But I loved I hated Jason Todd. He was an asshole character. But I did like Tim Drake a lot. I was on Graybeards once when we did the Star Trek creatures. Have a watch party with Aaron Abbott and still meet Frankenstein. I don't think he's going to show. I don't think he's going to show. I should do one with Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and just rag on it the whole time. I draw him in by saying, we're going to do a party with, Wrath of Khan. Are you in? He'd be, oh, I'm all in. And then I just rag on it the whole time. That'd be funny. Question. Bruce trained his mind and his body almost to an obsessive compulsive extent. If his parents were not killed, do you think he would root that determination in something else? If so, what? It's hard to say whether that was part of who he was or if the death of his parents made him that way. If he, if his parents were, a permissive parents that, gave him everything he wanted, he'd be a spoiled little brat who wouldn't have a lot of get up and go probably, to do great things. We're all a product of our experiences, and, maybe that's what, turned him into that obsessive compulsive. Bruce is a Sherlock stereotype, so I think Bruce would go into criminal forensics. Well, he definitely studied that for sure. Kino says, thanks for answering my questions. I'm currently building a Batcave man cave in my basement. Any advice? Put a pole in there. At the very least, you get a pole dancer to come in. But I think that would look cool. Okay, do you like the new Batman, especially since they highlight the detective part of his character? The new movie reminds me of Batman Year One. I did like that movie. I liked it even more since I got a royalty from it for using my penguin in there and the Iceberg Lounge. But I did like that. I thought Robert Pattinson played a really excellent Batman. Graham, not an In the Mouth of Madness fan. I asked EVS, but he said he wasn't a Carpenter fan. I liked In the Mouth of Madness. Yeah, I did that one this year for 31 Days of Monsters. I like that one. It's weird. But I can see Carpenter's not for everybody, and Carpenter's hit and miss. He can do great stuff and he can do shit too. So, I could see where EVS wouldn't be a big fan of his. There we go. You could always have a Batgirl in there. Yeah, it's not the Riddler. I like the Penguin. I thought he was cool. I've watched the first episode of the TV show, but I haven't seen anything since then. I was up in Buffalo a bit ago and found a copy of Night Quest Crusade, but it's also Batman? I'm a little confused about what I'm reading. Night Quest Crusade. That's when in Nightfall, Bruce Wayne had his back broken by Batman by Bane, and so Batman was replaced by Jean-Claude Valet, who was Azrael, and so he took over Batman. They started getting this different armor and stuff like that, and he became a more violent and dangerous Batman. The whole point of it was to show readers who were saying Batman needs to kill his bad guys and to be more like the Wolverine and the Punisher. Why that's not a good idea for Batman. So you need to get Nightfall, I guess, to get caught up. Are you getting anything for the Penguin show? I don't know. If I am, those are royalties that would be down the road. So I won't know until maybe next year. And not really. I didn't really care for Escape from New York. It's okay. The Carpenter films I do like are I like Halloween, which is brilliant. I like The Fog, which was great. I like They Live, which is a little anti-Reagan, or a lot anti-Reagan. But I liked it because it was a cool concept. In the Mouth of Madness was cool, creepy and weird. Um, Assault on Precinct 13 I liked. Um, Prince of Darkness was pretty cool. Vampires I didn't like. Trying to think of some of his other movies. Oh, his remake of Children of the Damned sucked, or Village of the Damned. So yeah, he's hit and miss. The TV show is really good. You should finish watching it. I'll get around to it. I just finished 31 Days of Monsters, so I had a lot of stuff I had to watch. So now that my time is opening up a little bit more, I can understand that the hero dies is in the first 5 seconds of the movie, Mouth of Madness. Stories like that trip people out. Our Enosh for a $10 super chat. That's a good cigar. Should Bruce mirror Elon in some of his story to keep him up to date, or just stay with the model from the beginning? Well, I don't see Bruce as a surrogate for Elon. I see Reed Richards as that. Uh, I even had a proposal for a Fantastic Four series uh, some years ago, saying that that Reed is an Elon Musk character, who sometimes can't tie his own shoes, maybe because he's thinking so much of stuff in the future. You know. Got another super chat. NRG Comics for $20. That is a good cigar. Sorry to be late. I will rewind and watch later. Everybody back. Escape from Monster Island. Thank you, NRG Comics. Glad to see you're here. Okay, question. Why why did they do Azrael versus Nightwing? Who made that choice? Um, it depends on what book it happened in. Um, well, I had him fighting him in Detective, so Chuck would have written it. It was probably at the Bat Conference. We used to lay out all the storylines because we had like 4 or 5 books at first, and then even more that were tying into these storylines. So we had to keep the story thread moving through them and figure out, well, who's going to write this story and this story and what's going to happen in each one of these books. And the driving force behind that stuff was Denny O'Neil. So I guess the short answer would be Denny, since he created Azrael too. But to be honest, I'm not positive. Okay, how the heck did Batman choose Azrael to sub for him? That always made no sense to me. I'll be honest, Chris, I haven't read this stuff in 30 years. I don't remember if Batman did choose him or how that came about. Just don't remember. Yeah, I'm not a big one on that one either. Rick662 says, or 1662, Vampires was awful. Sad because I like James Woods. I like James Woods too, but he was miscast in that. That's not his. I don't see him as a badass. Yeah, Ghost of Mars was a hot mess. Cool idea, but a hot mess. Make your own FF-like IP. Yeah, I'll call it Challengers of the Unknown. Nah, that one's been taken. Now I'll think of another one. Salazar Knight says, "Hey Graham, I love your Batman, dude. I wanted to ask, who were your favorite Batman artists growing up?" I loved from the Golden Age. I loved Dick Sprang and Jerry Robinson. I loved in the modern age, or the age that I grew up reading Batman. I loved Jim Aparo and Don Newton, and I loved Irv Novick. Those and I love Neil Adams too. Those were my favorites. But the most influential on me when I was designing my Batman and how I was going to approach him and draw him were Don Newton and probably Jim Aparo. How the hell did you draw Azrael's costume? I drew it angrily. That's how. I hated it. I forget. I've had requests for commissions to draw that, and I turned them down. I said, nope, not interested. All right, let's see. Let's do a refresh here and see how we're doing. It's 743 backers last time I loaded this. I hate when it does that. All right, let's fresh. Oh, wow. We had like 20 some odd backers. We're up to 46,000. Beautiful. The campaign, this campaign, and most everybody's campaigns are really down right now, and I suspect a lot of that is because of the economy. We are, we've righted the ship, and it's going to take a while, and I'm hoping that people we're feeling more confident about spending now that we've gotten Trump in as president, and try and fix that economy, get people working, get money coming in, get costs and interest rates down, and so that people can feel a little bit freer. I think they were holding on to their purse strings, wondering, like, well, if we had Biden part 2, what's that going to mean? And that was a scary thing to happen. So we're past that, thankfully, and I'm hoping that people will, feel a little bit more confident in where they are. But that's a reality. That's where we're at right now. I was just checking on. There's a site where you can check your previous campaigns and 30 days in, how far out they were, how many backers you had, and all that kind of stuff. And I've talked to other guys who are crowdfunding as well, and everybody's projects are down, and that has to be the reason. Did you come up with the Bat Azrael costume? It doesn't seem like your style. No, I did not. Joe Casada did it. Joe, who had to draw it like once. Yeah, I've always said I want to punch that guy in the mouth when I see him. How did the Wayne family get so rich? Bruce's dad was a doctor, right? He wouldn't be that rich. So who ran Wayne Industries, and why did Bruce end up with it? I think the answer is old money. Other Waynes, had built or were founders of Gotham City and made their money in real estate um and that kind of stuff. And Thomas Wayne, grew up rich, and became a doctor and had inherited everything. And I don't know if he started Wayne Industries, as a philanthropic thing or what, or if that's something Bruce did. You know, there's been so many retcons, I can't remember. Chris says it's tough out there. It is. It is. Julie and I went to the grocery store and we spent $230 just for the two of us, and the only meat we bought was bacon. That's a lot of money for two people for a week. It's not like we had cleaning products and stuff that was expensive. So all this shit is up. You go out to a restaurant. Uh, Marcus says he shared the link. What link is that, Marcus? But it's MAGA time now, baby. Yeah. I didn't see a. Rick says I can't leave without dropping $100, and it's just myself. Right. It's just the two of us. It was 230, so that checks out. We took the White House and Senate and looking good for a majority in the House. Times are getting better. Yeah. Yeah, they are. At least they're hopeful. It might be worth doing a second chance campaign after Trump is in. Well, this will still be up in demand at that point. So, and I've got some other stuff coming to the campaign too. Of course, the Trump cover, the limited edition Trump cover. Probably be some shirts, and I'm working on slipcases for the trilogy, so that all three books will fit into this slipcase. I have it designed and everything, and I'm ready to pull the trigger, but I want to see what the quality is of the manufacturing on it. So I'm waiting for samples to come in of the materials that will be used for it, because if it's just flimsy cardboard, I don't want to do it. I need something stronger, and it's going to look nicer, and so that when it's on the shelf, and if this works out, then I can do a slipcase for the Joe Frankenstein series, or then I could do one just for the Compass Comics series and put all the Compass Comics books into the slipcase, which would be really cool. Question: are you going to have a new Compass Comics beanies because winter is just around the corner? I don't have them manufactured. There's not a huge demand for them, to be honest. I'm debating on whether to do some ball caps, like Ethan does and Aaron does. I've avoided them because I have to change my logo somewhat. I have to take the map aspect out of the background of the logo because it's too much detail if they're going to make any patches or sew anything. So jury's still out on that, to be honest. I just spent the weekend blasting my last rounds. The Australian government are taking all our firearms now. Sheet bad over here. Pray for us. Oh my God, really? That's terrible. That is. Come over here, buddy. We have no borders. Just come on over. We'll take you. I've heard things are bad there. I mean, I used to think of Australia as like American cousins that had the same mentality and everything, but then their government really, especially during COVID, really locked down on the freedoms. It's a shame. I don't like posters and prints because they're a pain in the butt to ship, Chris. That's why I avoid them. Um, rolling them is a pain on my end, and shipping them flat is a pain on shipping. So I avoid those. Nice. My beanie has a Blue Compass comics in honor of Escape from Monster Island until the end of the campaign. Beautiful. I love it, Rob. That's fantastic. Yeah, the Blue Compass Comics logo is used on all Monster Island products. Everything else gets the red logo. I saw Australia is registering everybody's internet usage because of the new law they passed for social media. Oh, that sounds nice. NRG says he loves to wear his Compass Comics beanie. They are good beanies, yeah. I might have to get some more made. Somebody else asked me about hoodies. I might look into that. Hoodies could be cool. Would you guys back hoodies? Is that something you guys would think would be cool? All right, let's go back here. Do it refresh, see if we got any more backers. Oh yeah. Holy cow. Yeah, that's great. Let's see how many of these things have moved so far. 24. Well, 32 out of 300. That's nice. Excellent. Excellent. If you guys are into CGCs, we do have the CGC version too, which is now up. They went up, I think, last week. If you're new to Monster Island and you don't know anything about it, here's the trilogy deal. You can get all three of these books. I'm expecting to have the slipcover up here, and then there'll also be a version. If you already bought the three books, great. Then you can just get the slipcover and you'll be fine. If you end up coming in new, there'll be one with the slipcover with the three books, so you can get them all. Then you can use it for this book too, or this version too. This is the frame covers. So I'm surprised at this one though. The CGC 1998 retail edition. I've only moved to 8 of these, and there's only 40 of them. So I was surprised that those haven't flown off. Commissions, guys. This is a fun one. It's Compass Comics Versus. You can get you pick the character, and then you pick the Compass Comics character, and we throw them at each other in a battle. That would be cool. So once Trump money starts getting into your pocket again, think about it. You'll have more disposable cash. All right. Shanu hoodies, huh? Well, that's the next launch will be Shanu 77. So that would definitely be a good time to do that. Hoodies, hats, beanies for the win. Yes, yes, hell yes. Shanu hoodie, I would. Okay. All right. Ask and ye shall receive. We'll get to work on that. Kina says he'd back Compass Comics cigar and bourbon glasses. Okay. Bourbon glasses. Yeah, we could do those for sure. The Compass Comics cigar, though, I can't ship tobacco. because I thought about that a while back of getting cigars and having custom made labels put on it, like Compass Comics labels on the cigars. But there are postal regulations about shipping tobacco, and I can't do that. And I don't know that IGG would allow me to do that either. So, all right. Yeah, this is the prequel, Chinook 77. That's the next book once I did get done with Escape from Monster Island. All right, gang. I want to thank you guys for coming in. I hope you enjoyed the tour of the Batcave. Thank you, everybody who is back the campaign, and particularly anybody that came on board new for the 24-hour edition. I think this is really cool looking, and I hope everybody will consider backing this and then the upcoming Trumpy cover. I can't wait to see the colors for that. Compass Comics Humidor and bourbon glasses. That's great. All right, gang. We will see you next time. I hope you have a great weekend coming up, and we'll be in touch. Bye-bye.